Namaste everyone and best wishes for a great Srimad Bhagavad Gita jayanthi. Today I will be sharing my thoughts on Srimad Bhagavad Gita out of my book, A Seeker Srimad Bhagavad Gita. I request you to please take a look at the book and let me know what you think about it. Thank you. Today we will research chapter 6, verse 1 to 3. Sri Krishna said, anyone who performs sanctioned actions and is disengaged from the fruit of action, he is a sannyasi and a yogi, not he that neither acts nor performs without sacrificial fire. Now, let us do a deep dive into what Sri Krishna is trying to say. First of all, let's look at action. There are three types of actions. One is karma, the second is akarma, and the third is vikarma. Karma is any action that is done in consonance with dharma. Akarma is inaction. That means even if you know you have to intervene and act, if you do not act to protect dharma but remain static, that is called akarma. If you know something has to be done as per dharma, but your action is counter to that of dharma, then that is vikarma. Let's take for instance, if you have to stop at a red signal, but you break it or you drive in the opposite direction of traffic, that is vikarma, because dharma requires you to stop at a signal. Dharma requires that you go as per the flow of traffic or obey traffic rules, and you must not break them. So to repeat, karma is actions which are in consonance with dharma. Akarma is inaction, or when you know something has to be done and you don't do it, that is akarma. That is, for example, suppose you see somebody is hurting a dog in the street. If you do not intervene but keep walking, that is akarma. It is still a dharma because you have not stopped the dog from being beaten. Lastly is vikarma, which I have already explained. Now let us look at point number 2. Disengaged from the fruits of actions. Let's go back to the example of the dog being beaten by somebody. If you go and intervene and you tell that person, please don't beat the dog, if you do it for the sake of dharma, that is, you don't really have any personal interest in it, and if you walk away without feeling that I did a great thing, which is called ahankara, that I did something, then you have done something without expectation of return. That is called karma-phala tyaga. Karma-phala means the fruit of action. Any action will have an outcome. That outcome, if you do not want it to be yours, and if you say that I don't really do this action for achieving something, then that is called karma-phala tyaga. Karma-phala tyaga means I am renouncing good or bad, right or wrong. Whatever the fruit of that action may be, I'm renouncing it. So, when a person performs karma, that which is as per the laws of nature, as per the laws of dharma, and when a person performs this without ahankara, that is nir-ahankara, without the feeling of doership, that I did something great, or, I mean, when a person does something bad, one knows that he has not done something that is right. And what we end up doing is giving excuses. But that doesn't make it right. So, when a person performs sanctioned action and is disengaged from the fruit of action, he is a sannyasi and a yogi. Not he that neither acts nor performs without a sacrificial fire. Another thing that a dharmic person or a person who is considered to be an ascetic or a yogi is that a person performs yajna. The sacrificial fire is a yajna, and the yajna has got many layers. The sacrificial fire is one where you have a fire in order to perform rites for various other things. You are doing something that is outside of selfish interests. That is basically what a sacrifice means, where you perform an act without selfish interest. Now, when you do it as per the laws of Veda or asthika-dharma, what you do is you perform as per the various Vedic rites, such as those that are written in Rig Veda, Yajurveda, Samaveda, or Atharvana Veda. When that happens, you have a formal fire, you consecrate the fire, and then you perform your sacrificial rites as per what you want. That means you have to perform the sacrificial fire as per karma. Now, what are the different karmas that are delineated in a sacrificial fire? There are four. One is called nitya-karma, what you have to do on a daily basis. Next is called naimittika-karma. Naimittika-karma is also action which is a sacrifice which will not yield any positivity. You don't do it for a outcome. You do it because it has to be done. For example, when you look after your child, when you take your child to school, when you pack the lunchbox of your child, if you take your wife shopping, these are not things that are done with selfish interest. These are done because they are the right thing to do. So those are called naimittika-karma, where you do the various sodasa samskaras. The various samskaras such as Upanayana samskara, Simantonayana samskara, Vivaha samskara. When you perform Shraddha, that is the last rites for your parents, those are naimittika-karma. Sorry, Shraddha and other important rites come under nitya-karma. The third is kamya-karma. Kamya-karma means that which you do for a selfish desire, that I want something. Suppose you work hard to get a promotion, you write an entrance exam to do something for a particular reason. That is kamya-karma. It is action that is driven by desire. Lastly, nishada-karma, karma that is done counter to dharma, such as not stopping at the signal, going in the wrong direction, spitting on the street, throwing trash on the street. These are all nishada-karma. That is, this is action that is counter to dharma. But the yajna or the sacrifice does not always need a fire, because dharma by itself is the natural state of any entity. So, when we look at Sanatana Dharma, that is the one that is universal, whenever we are acting in consonance with nature, then we are performing yajna so long as that action is not selfish or it does not have the feeling of being the doer or ahankara. Now, let us understand sannyasa. So, he is saying here that he is a sannyasi and a yogi, not he that neither acts nor performs without a sacrificial fire. Who is a sannyasi? Let's look at the word sannyasa. Sannyasa is a compound word of sam and nyasa. Sam means one that merges, that is, when the subject and the object are in harmony. When something transforms into a more harmonic state, when there is calmness, when somebody is giving without the feeling of I, that is sam. That is, when there is no filter between you and the other person, that is called sam. Nyasa means discord. That is, when there is no discord between you and the subject or you and the object, that is called sannyasa. And that essentially means throwing away the present change or materiality. When we are unaffected by change or materiality, that is called sannyasa. So let us now look at the various types of sannyasa. How there are two major divisions in sannyasa. We as individuals look outward and inward. Our awareness moves outwards or our awareness moves inward. When our awareness moves outward, it is called vijnana. When it moves inward, it is called jnana. That is, when it moves outward, the person tries to understand the environment, the frame of reference in which the person exists. When the person looks inward, the person looks at the inward frames which define existentiality. So, when you negate the outward looking knowledge, that is, when you stop trying to acquire knowledge and just become still, that is called vividisha sannyasi. When you stop looking inward, that is, you say, whatever knowledge I have, whatever filters I have, this body, this annamaya kosha, this pranamaya kosha, this manomaya kosha, this vijnanamaya kosha, I'm going to stop seeking it. When you say I am going to stop seeking that, then there is a stillness. So this is called vividvat sannyasi. So there are two types. A person stops looking outward and just becomes still. A person stops looking inward and just becomes still. There are four levels of vividisha sannyasi. First is called kutichaka sannyasi. That is, a person lives in the house, in a secluded portion of the house, but remains unattached or does not interfere in family life. The second is called bahudaka sannyasi, where the person is living in the house, but he accepts donations or he accepts food from others. It is very important for us to understand that a sannyasi no longer has possessions because he has renounced the present. He has renounced change and he has renounced materiality. That means he does not have an identity. He cannot go and work. He is dependent on society to provide sustenance for him. So he has to ask society for bhiksha. Bhik means beg. Bhiksha. That's the cognate of the word beg. So the person has to beg for food, for clothing, for everything. Which is why when a person is a kutichaka sannyasi, that problem is resolved. Because the family will give him some food to eat and some clothes to wear. Bahudaka sannyasi, the sannyasi stays in his own house but accepts alms from others. So we will not differentiate between Hamsa sannyasi and Paramahamsa sannyasi. Paramahamsa sannyasi is one who has completely merged with the Brahman, has reached the ultimate state of sannyasa, and he is neither bothered by family, neither does he have a need to be as a part of society. Now let us look at the type of renunciates. There are various stages and various types of renunciates depending on the kind of work they do. A sannyasi is one who has taken formal vows of sannyasa and renounced all possessions. Typically, a sannyasi lives very minimally and he will just wander around asking for food and he will wander around begging. Basically, bhiksha. He will survive only on bhiksha. If somebody feeds him, he will eat. He will not go and ask. He will just wait. If somebody gives, he eats. If nobody gives, nothing changes within the person because he has renounced the present, he has renounced change, and he has renounced materiality. A yogi can be a householder, he can be part of society, but he has isolated himself from change. It is harder to be a yogi than a sannyasi. As a sannyasi, you have formally cut yourself off from society, whereas as a yogi, you are still living in society, but you are completely in a state of nir-ahankara. That is, you are constantly trying not to allow materiality, existence, change, and the present to impact your sense of stillness or the merger with the Brahman. A guru does not have to be either a sannyasi or a yogi. He can be a very intelligent person, he can be a wise person, he can be a person who has seen a lot of life, but he is more a mentor. So it's very important to recognize a student might become a yogi or a sannyasi before a guru. Because a guru does not necessarily have to be a yogi or a sannyasi. A guru is meant to make the other person reach moksha, and there are some who are able to do it to their students but don't reach it themselves. A Swami is an honorific title of a Hindu monk, and a person could be of various categories depending on the person's wisdom. A sadhu is also an ascetic and he has also renounced earthly life but not as formally as a sannyasi. These are various terminologies and nomenclatures we have to describe the various kinds of people who are trying to merge with the Brahman and achieve moksha. Let us look at verse 2. However, verily know that renunciation that they call yoga cannot be achieved by anyone without renouncing of sankalpa. Now let's look at what is sankalpa. Sankalpa again is a compound word of two words. One is sam, which is equal, which we have already seen, sannyasi, sankalpa. The sum is the same. The other one is kalpa. Kalpa is fit. Okay. So sankalpa means bridging the gap between equality or rhythm. Let us look at what this means in real life. Let us say that you wish to go and meet your parents in their hometown. You are in a different town, you wish to go and meet them in their hometown. That need to see your parents is a sankalpa. It's a gap. You have perceived a gap, the need to meet your parents. So you make the effort to go and meet your parents. The sankalpa is the starting point of karma. Without that identification of gap, we will not have the need to do something. If you see the light turning red, you will stop your car. The action of stopping the car is the sankalpa that you have that the light has turned red. If you continue and break the signal, That again is a sankalpa, that I have to cross the signal despite it being red. That also is sankalpa. Not doing anything is also sankalpa. I decide not to do. That is when you act as per your will, where the identity drives the action, where there is ahankara, the feeling of doership. I need to do it. That is the source of sankalpa. So, whenever there is sankalpa, there is action which is either karma in consonance with dharma, akarma, that which is inaction, and lastly, it could be counter to dharma such as vikarma. Sankalpa means bridging a gap to bring equality or rhythm. Now, the rhythm does not necessarily have to be dharmic. Like I said, you want to cross a signal, it does not necessarily mean it is dharmic. It means you want to finish the task. You want to find rhythm within yourself. So you are willing to break dharma in order to find that rhythm, that feeling of balance. So there is the application of ahankara in the action. Now, what is renunciation of sankalpa? Renunciation of sankalpa means letting go the desire to make the change. Now, does it mean that you stop acting? No, you don't. You know that you have to go to your parents' house. You know you've got to get into the car. You are driving the car. And you will follow all the dharmic actions. You will stop at the signal without really becoming personal. Even though you may be late, you will not break the signal. Or you will communicate to your parents saying that I'm coming, but I'm stuck in traffic and things like that. The point is, when the action is without the feeling of doership or ahankara, I am the doer, I am driving, or getting angry with somebody for breaking the signal. When no such thing happens, when the present is subsumed in the action, when there is no present, the change is not perceived as something that is personal, then you have let go sankalpa. This is what Sri Krishna is saying. However, verily know that renunciation that they call yoga cannot be achieved by anyone without renunciation of sankalpa. So when the I goes out of the action, the need to achieve is left. When the need to achieve is renounced, when the need to progress, the need to do things in a particular manner is renounced, then there is a sense of calm because the I is not affected. The Purusha is not affected. When the Purusha is not affected, there is no ahankara, aham, I. My asmita remains intact. The sense of I is not damaged or it does not change. It remains in the present, it remains static, it remains still. It is not impacted by the present, it is not impacted by change. It is said that the saints, desirous of advancing, must harmonize action with motivation. In fact, it is said that those who have achieved complete harmony are those who have brought calmness to their reason for action. Now, this is obviously follow through from verse 2, where first he speaks about renouncing sankalpa, and then here he says that when you harmonize action with motivation, so you are doing your actions as per dharma, and then you are also achieving complete harmony through calmness of reason. That means when is your reason calm? When you don't really feel the need to prove yourself, when you don't really feel the need to achieve something, you are already at peace. When that happens, then the ahankara is no longer there. The sense of asmita is at peace, it's still, and then after that, the action that comes out is one where there is harmony and rhythm with both dharma and the self. Yoga is the movement of the cognition from turbulence to stillness, from cacophony to silence, from the sense of doership or ahankara to inertness or bhasma. Thank you for watching. Please do like, share, and subscribe. For more information, do visit my website www.schoolofyoga.in.